304 to Holy Roller when it's too late. Woman gotta do better. Okay, so this woman right here is apparently talking about the type of woman that we all know, right? One that was for the streets, ran through by a bunch of guys, and eventually one day she turns around and turns to religion and wants to get married, wants to get wifed up, right? And in this picture, you see Brittany Renner, you know, how she was for the streets and then she turned Muslim. Then she was back for the streets and now she is with another guy and apparently they pray before every podcast. Now, I'm going to give my thoughts on this at the end. First, we're going to hear what this woman got to say.
So there's a trend that's going on where modern women are choosing to spend their 20s and the bulk of their 30s being 304s. And then all of a sudden they decide that they want to be a holy roller. Now, let's kind of break this down a little bit, right? So a lot of modern women are spending their 20s and 30s being 304s, being on modern day prostitution time, having kids outside of marriage, being ran through, jumping from this man to the next man, getting a man to pay a bill over here, getting a man to pay for some hair, nails, and toes over here. Very much just out here in these streets, right? And then once this woman gets to her late 30s, she finally realizes, oh my goodness, I want to settle down. I want a family. I want to be a wife. I want to be renewed. I want a provider, a protector, a man that is going to be a safe space. I don't want to be out in these streets anymore. Then she becomes the holy roller. Then all of a sudden she's in the church. Now she's reciting scriptures. Now she's telling men, look, I'm not having sex until I'm married. So if you want to date me or be with me, you're going to have to put a ring on my finger before you get some of this. Y'all.
Okay, I can't watch this and sit here and be, you know, a hypocrite as a man, right? And not to say that, you know, I do think there's a difference between being promiscuous as a man than a woman. I think there's a lot of differences there. But to say that these women can't, you know, change and become better people, I just think that's kind of wrong to say. For example, me, some of y'all may know in my past life in GTA and Minecraft, I was doing things that wasn't necessarily legal, right? Now, straight arrow, doing everything the right way, everything legal, pay my taxes, all that stuff, right? And, you know, so I do believe in paths to redemption for people unless they doing some type of unspeakable, unthinkable acts, you know, like killing or grape or things like that, right? Like those things, you know, even though maybe there should be some type of path to redemption for those people, you know, I think it's just a way, way longer path, right? So when it comes to these women, you know, to me, it's about them being honest with the person they're with. If the person they're with accepts the fact that they were a hoe, and for someone like Brittany Renner, right, every guy that she gets with, they know about her past. She's written books about how many celebrities that she slept with. So there is no excuse for that man. You know, there's no excuse. Now, a different guy, you know, growing up, and even most of the guys that get with girls that used to be whores, they kind of know. Like most of them know. Some of them don't. Of course, you got the girl that moves away, turns to Christian and whatever, but eventually that past is going to slip. They're going to run into somebody, or somebody that, you know, used to be hating on her in her past might hit up the guy and send her the video of her getting a train run on her. So it's not too many ways, especially with digital footprints and social media, that a girl can get away with a guy not really knowing about her past if she got a crazy past like that.
Ladies, it don't work. It don't work. You can't go from being ran through in a 304 to then deciding that now that your clock is running out and it's becoming a little too late, and now you're ran through, your body is all over the place from having kids. You just don't look all that pleasing, right? You cannot then decide, oh, I'm going to be a holy roller now. And now any man that wants to take me seriously, he's going to have to wait until marriage. That's not how that works. Because unless you are a virgin, what man is really waiting for marriage for a woman that has already been ran through? And it just makes me laugh when women who have already had kids outside of marriage then wants to talk about waiting until marriage.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, and it is like, kind of dumb for them to think that on their end for these women that think like some guy's gonna wait till marriage after you've been wearing through. But hey, I don't mind. Like I would say, bro, have your standards. Anybody in this world, man, woman, goat, whatever they are, they can have their own standards, but it's about the results that you're getting. Like, is it matching up? Are you actually getting guys that are willing to wait? So if you can get that, then hey, it's nothing wrong with it. But if you can't, like, I mean, do I think this guy is waiting till marriage to have sex with Brittany Renner? I don't think so, but maybe it is.
Not happening. I'm gonna need you guys to stop trying to mask Christianity with being a 304. It's not godlike and it's not cute.
Okay. So, I respect this woman's opinion right here for sure. Like I said, to me, I feel like most guys, if they know, they aren't gonna deal with it. But there are a few guys out there, man. There are simps out there that don't care, about a woman's past, even when she was the biggest whore in the world. That's why we have like cucks and things like that nowadays. So, like I said, have your standards, do what you want to do. I think people should be allowed to change. They always say this generation wouldn't have allowed Malcolm Little to become Malcolm X. So, there's something to be said about that. Does get a little deeper when you talk about women being promiscuous, just because I feel like it causes a lot of like the trauma and the mental problems from that. Because put it like this, I don't know too many. Well, I don't really know too many virgins in general, right? But I would say that most of the women who are probably like virgins into their late teens and early adult years have way less mental health problems than the ones that have been through a couple guys by the time they're in their early 20s. Like, what I'm saying, I feel like just the trauma and the drama and the things that comes with dealing with a bunch of different men, I think that affects a woman's mental health for sure. So that's also something to think about, if you're a woman out here in these streets and living that lifestyle, and you're thinking about changing one day. It's not gonna be an overnight switch flip. And that's the problem, when like people don't know what Brittany Renner does in her regular daily life, right? So when she makes these changes, or one day you're Muslim, one day you're not Muslim, or now you're Christian, and like it seems like it's like, oh, she just flipped the switch overnight and just decided to change. But there might have been a lot of work behind this. There might have been a lot of work. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this whole conversation down below. As always, love y'all. I'm out.
I just wanna be great, just to be great, be great.